Welcome back to another Blacktastic episode of the People Before Politics show, Sunday Rundown, powered by Black Westchester magazine. I'm your host, Damon K. Jones, joined by my brother, A.J. Woodson, and bringing that fresh perspective, Larnaz Kinsey. Every Sunday, we pull back the curtain on the issues shaping our families, our cities, and our future, from health and safety to policy and power. It's because our mission is simple. Put the people first, not the politics. It's going to be Blacktastic. Are you ready to put your brand in front of the people who matter? Black Westchester magazine is your platform. With over 90,000 monthly website readers and more than 250,000 YouTube viewers every month, we give your business unmatched exposure. From email blasts straight to our subscribers, to video commercials, website promotions, and targeted campaign, we've got the tools to help you connect, engage, and grow. Whether you're a local business, a national brand, a rising entrepreneur, or just promoting an upcoming event, Black Westchester is where culture, community, and commerce meet. Contact us today or scan the QR code and start building with us. Don't just advertise, be part of the movement, be part of Black Westchester, be Blacktastic. Black America first. Yeah, Black America first. Fix the house, fix the fam, let the blessings burst. Got a sweet tooth? Come to Cupcake Cutie Boutique in Mount Vernon, where every day is a reason to celebrate. Fresh homemade cupcakes baked with love. Stop by 8 South 6th Avenue and taste the cuteness today.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Trying to do too many things at one time. I'm here by myself till my partner, A.J. Woodson, comes through. So happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. And peace and blessings to everybody that's watching on X, YouTube, everywhere. Peace and blessings, my brother. Peace and blessings. Thank you for your support. Always. We're just here trying to give the news with a Black point of view, and I need y'all to bear with me. I'm running the table and talking, but we're gonna listen. We're gonna have some conversations today, right? We're really gonna have some conversations today. We're gonna talk about Black homeowners, man. Black homeowners in New York are pushing back on Zohran Mamdani's property tax increase, and we're going to have a conversation about that. We celebrated the life and the anniversary of the assassination of Malcolm X. Jesse Jackson, he passed away, and we send condolence to his family and everything that Jesse Jackson contributed to the Black American experience. And we're going to talk about tariffs too a little bit. We're going to have some discussion on tariffs, and we got a big shout for people that are in Westchester, especially in Greenburgh, that knew Dr. Olivia Hooker. We had Black history in our midst. She was a survivor of the Tulsa riot. She became the first Black female Coast Guard. She was a world-renowned psychiatrist, and she looked out for children, especially Black children, and she was an advocate to try to keep a lot of Black children off of meds. You know, there was a time that they were just putting Black kids on meds, and they tried to do it to my son. And I took him to Dr. Hooker, and she said wasn't nothing wrong with him. Something was wrong with how the teachers were teaching the class. Ain't that something? But we're going to have a discussion on that. We have a discussion. And we also going to have a discussion. So I don't know if y'all been watching a lot of the stuff that's been going down with Jasmine Crockett. And so she's in a primary. She's in a Democratic primary. I'm trying to see what the dude's name is. Against a state representative. She's in the Democratic primary. This is Jasmine Crockett. This is the state representative. His name is James Talarico. Now he's a Democrat. He is a Democrat. So she's in the primary against a Democrat, and she was saying, but she didn't want to call it racist, but she was saying how they darkened her skin tone. And the big issue was with Stephen Colbert. You know, I don't know if people know, there's FCC rules that you have to have opposite opinions, especially in politics. So if you got a conservative, you're supposed to have progressive, right? You got a Republican, you're supposed to have a Democrat. Now those are FCC rules, and that goes over radio and TV. So the state representative James Talarico, I guess that's how you pronounce his name, he was invited to go on the Steve Colbert show. And the FCC pushed back because they said you have to have a balance. You were supposed to invite Jasmine Crockett. So the report is they never even aired the show, you know. So the question was, you know, was that intentional? Was that actually intentional? Hey, my brother Schrober, what's happening, man? Yes, sir. Same to you too, man. I'm staying inside, man. We ain't got to go nowhere. Hey, Schrober, I didn't go to work when I had to work in the snowstorm. So, you know, being retired, I ain't doing nothing now. They tried the same thing with my son. I had to fight them for, yep. So this is her response. Now, I'm going to say this. When Jamal Bowman was running his first reelection, they did the same. A Democratic candidate did the same thing to Jamal Bowman. They darkened his skin. Now, she's saying they did the same thing to her. So the question is, you know, this is not a Republican doing it. This is another Democratic candidate doing it. And let's see her response. Here we go.
Is for me to be attacked from the left. That is the new wild card in this scenario. But it's just interesting, and I've been asked a couple of times a couple of things about it, and I look at this specifically as a civil rights lawyer, and I see when they're sending out ads and they're darkening my skin, and I'm just like, I know what this is, right? And
what is it? What is it? Is it racism? Is it racism? Why didn't she say it was racism? All this time, she act like the Democratic Party didn't have racism in it. See, that's the whole thing. Call it what it is. Ms. Crockett, call it racism. Oh, absolutely. They're showing their true colors now. And when we try to tell people that, they call us MAGA and haters. But here, Jasmine Crockett, right now, she's going through the same thing. Well, it's not even her lack of electability. you know, because they did the same game to Jamal Bowman. Democrats did. Democrats did. They did the same thing to Bowman. They did the same thing to other black candidates. Now, I'm not bashing the Democratic Party. I'm just calling it what it is, because it seems like we do not want to have those conversations. Hey, what's up, Keisha? Yes, they did. Absolutely. See, we don't want to have those conversations. We want to put it off in Republican land and in Trump, but we don't want to have those conversations that there are just as many people who don't, just as many people that think like Republicans in the Democratic Party. Huh? And that's the truth. And I'm not bashing nobody. I'm just calling it what it is. Yes, we must have these conversations more. Yes, we do, but we don't want to. And that's why, and that's why they look at me funny when I walk into these spaces, because I'm going to have these conversations, because I think black people deserve better. And we deserve the respect, especially when you're giving 90, 95% of the vote to one party. Especially that. And another day, we're gonna have the conversation. If black people are giving 90 to 95% of their vote to one party, and when it comes election time, how many black companies make money when it's election time? You know, I love Jamal Bowman to death, but I ain't see nothing but white faces running this campaign. I call it what I see it. I ain't see nothing but white faces running Jamal Bowman's campaign. How do we give 90% of the vote? And I'll call it like I see it. How is a black candidate that dependent on black votes don't hire black consultants? I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna put that out there. Election time, especially a national election. Listen, Kamala Harris spent $2 billion. $2 billion and lost. But you could go up on the computer and pull out the companies and see how many companies were black companies that got some of that money. But yet we're turning out 90 to 95% of the vote. I'm not talking against the Democratic Party. I'm just seeing black people, where is our mind at? It's about money. Like, people are getting mad. People are mad right now. Check this out. People are mad right now because they're saying, well, the Republicans refused Jesse Jackson to go in the rotunda, and they did it for Charlie Kirk. Guess what? Charlie Kirk and TPUSA, to get the Republicans in, to make sure that the Republicans got 2 houses in the presidency, Charlie Kirk and TPUSA, they spent $1.9 billion. How many black political organizations is spending $1.9 billion in a presidential election? None. None. Exactly. I've been saying that for a long time, but for me saying that, Keisha, you know, they call me MAGA. Yep. Absolutely. So we gotta figure it out, black folks. We definitely have to figure it out. Because if we don't figure it out, we're gonna get lost in the sauce. We're gonna get lost in the sauce. Now I'm gonna move forward with your man Mamdani. So Mamdani is telling people that if the governor don't raise taxes, he's gonna have to raise taxes on the homeowners. And now Black homeowners are actually upset. They're actually upset. But let's get honest. Where did the shortfall of the money come from? Now, some people ain't gonna like what I'm saying. They're gonna be like, "Oh man, you doing Republican talking points," but it is what it is, and you ain't gonna take it from me. I'm gonna play the former mayor, which he already explained how the money was gonna happen. But because if you have all these programs and you got no way to pay for the programs for the migrants, and if the federal government is not giving you money, the arithmetic says you're going to run in a deficit. In a deficit. So let's hear what former Mayor Eric Adams had to say.
We turned this city around in 20 months. And then what happened? Started with a madman down in Texas decided he wanted to bus people up to New York City. 110,000 migrants. We have to feed, clothe, house, educate the children, wash their laundry sheets, give them everything they need, health care. And this team here, we stated, let's do everything possible before we have to push it out into neighborhoods and communities. Month after month, I stood up and I said, this is going to come to a neighborhood near you. Well, we're here. We're here. We're getting no support on this national crisis, and we're receiving no support. And let me tell you something, New Yorkers. One time we were just getting Venezuela. Now we're getting Ecuador. Now we're getting Russian speaking coming through Mexico. Now we're getting Western Africa. Now we're getting people from all over the globe have made their minds up that they're going to come through the southern part of the border and come into New York City. And everyone is saying it's New York City's problem. Every community in this city is going to be impacted. We got a $12 billion deficit that we're going to have to cut. Every service in this city is going to be impacted. All of us.
$12 billion. What did Mamdani say? The short was $12 billion. And it was the reason for them spending on the migrants, which set the city in a shortfall. So now what does he have to do? See, I try to tell people, never believe that they're going to tax the rich. The rich always get away because the rich can leave. Working class people who are living paycheck to paycheck cannot pick up and leave. They can't do that. So the rich can go leave. They could go places. We can't do that. So taxing the rich always falls on the working and the middle class. So now he's saying he has to raise property taxes. So he's going to raise property taxes on the working people. And let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. I'm going to tell you this right now. The biggest foreclosure rate for our seniors, for Black seniors who worked all their lives to pay off a mortgage, and then they get their homes foreclosed on because they can't keep up with the property taxes. Who suffers the most? Black seniors. Who suffers the most? Black generational wealth. Because the first door you go through to build generational wealth is buying a home. And they don't teach us that. They don't teach Black people that. Yes, let me tell you something. Joshua. Eric, we did a show. I had brothers from New York City. Eric put his foot in his mouth when he was running down to the border and being on TV, running his mouth about New York as a sanctuary city, trying to get national news. And what did they do? Start busing the migrants to New York. We're in that predicament because of Eric ran his mouth. And that's my man. And I just keep it 100. He put New York City in that predicament because he was running his mouth. So Mamdani ran on all this free stuff. That's why our grandparents and great-grandparents purchased homes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why the migration is going back down south. He said it was before that. He just thought he could take it on. Yeah, but once the numbers came in and you start looking at the map, you know you can't take it on. But here's the bigger picture. The Biden administration didn't even help him. They didn't even help him. The Biden administration didn't even help Eric. Not one bit. And if people don't believe me, just look up when he testified. Just look up when he testified before Congress about the sanctuary city. And he testifies how much money Biden gave him. They didn't give him anything but an indictment. That's what they gave him, an indictment. See, a lot of times we have to have the conversations on how we got here. A lot of times people don't want to have the conversations how we got here because they get caught up in the nonsense. So now when people were trying to tell Black folks not to vote for Mamdani because he wants to pay for this stuff. And any person that has economic sense knows that rich people don't pay taxes. It always falls on the middle class. Whether you're getting your rent increase, where you get services increases, it always falls on the middle class. You raise taxes on the property owners, they're going to put it in the rent. They're going to put it in the rent. And by the time when they decide to do it, you're not going to get repairs. You're not going to get none of that. See, because property owners will just let it go and get it back on their taxes. We have to remember, anytime they talk about taxing the rich, it falls on the working class people. Exactly. Rich people pay themselves. Working people pay rich people in the government. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. They have been bamboozled. Now check out what the homeowners in Queens are saying.
It's been only 49 days since Mayor Mamdani took office, powered by the promise of making the nation's largest city more affordable. But now he's floating this idea of raising property taxes for all. And New Yorkers, well, we know they're never shy to share their own opinions. Eyewitness News reporter Stefan Kim with their message for the mayor tonight.
I don't plan to move. It's my home. I'm not leaving.
This two-story single-family home in Cambria Heights is Vivian Campbell's American dream come true. His starter home that has become his forever home.
The greatest thing to happen to me.
He bought it just after graduating college in the 1990s. If you step inside, he even has a stack of CDs to prove it. The retired real estate professional, who was on a fixed income, recently poured almost $35,000 into a new front porch and a new roof. But now with Mayor Mamdani proposing a property tax increase, he feels duped.
Do you feel like he lied to you?
He'll not feel. He lied. Not feel. It's obvious.
That's why Campbell was among the dozens of homeowners in Southeast Queens who turned out for what they say was an emergency response to the mayor.
Mayor Zoran Mamdani, you are out your goddamn mind.
To the mayor, with the greatest respects, in every campaign speech, in every debate where you engage, we opened our ears to listen. Now today, accept the words echoing from us now. Do your job as mayor and leave our taxes out.
To close a $5.4 billion budget gap, the mayor says he has two options: convince Governor Hochul to tax the wealthy, which he refuses to do, or raise the city property tax rate by 9.5%.
Faced with no other choice, the city would have to exercise the only revenue lever fully within our own control. We would have to raise property taxes.
But the city council would have to approve the measure, and Council Speaker Julie Menon says the proposal should not be on the table whatsoever. Meanwhile, Hochul, for her part, is unlikely to soften her position as she faces re-election this year.
You are giving only two options. You're saying if we don't tax the rich, then I got to increase property taxes. We are not a pawn in Southeast Queens. We are not part of your negotiation tactics.
In Queens, Sefan Kim, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
And that's what everybody warned black folks. Mamdani received 40% of the black vote. You know, sometimes in politics, they say, I'd rather be with the devil I know than the devil I don't know. And 40% of black folks chose the devil that they didn't know. And now they're gonna pay that. Look, he's gonna rate unless the city council speaker really pushes back. Depends on how many city council people. Good evening, good evening. Depends on how many city council people he got to get it passed. We're gonna see what happens, but they're gonna have to. And he's also talking about, this is insane. He's talking about pulling from the retirees' health benefits. That's crazy. That's crazy. You should never pull from your health benefits. I don't care what situation, because the city is not, cities does not make money. They're not, they use taxpayer money. They use grant money. They use money that comes in. And to talk about that, you're going to pull from people's health benefits that they done invested in for over 30 years. 20 to 30 years is insane. And like I know, everybody watching, black families benefited from civil service. So it's going to affect a lot of black families. But you get the government. Well, homeowners are becoming the forgotten middle. Well, then, right. But homeowners need to start voting on homeowner priorities. That's the problem. Larnez, we had this conversation before. Remember we had this conversation? Me, you, and AJ, and I'm like, listen, low taxes, services, right? Most black people in finance, when they think of when homeowners are conservative, because they know You out here spending willy-nilly, you gonna raise my damn taxes. So this is why I didn't understand. I don't know what they were voting for. When you vote for your feelings and you vote in your emotions and you don't vote through logic. Oh man, I don't even have my book, my latest book. Emotional logic. I forgot his name. I'm thinking my brain is running. Listen, we have to really think about how we vote. But I mean, look, the homeowners in New York going to have to deal with that. And if their taxes go up, their taxes go up. But that's what you voted for. That's what you voted for. You voted to give free stuff, and free stuff costs. And there's no way that Governor Hochul is going to talk about taxing the rich while she's running for election. Now, what she do after she get elected, if she get elected, that's going to be her business. And New Yorkers are going to have to deal with that, those that voted for her, and then she's going to raise the taxes. And that's the conversation that's going to have. But right now, and she already, look, she already gave him $1.something billion of the rest of New York's tax money. So he could give out free shit. You know, it's unfortunate that we have to even talk like that, but we the Black communities are going to get caught. Like we always do. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. We have to start putting an agenda across, and it just can't be all about feelings. It has to be concrete agenda, what the Black middle class needs. Education, make sure our educational system is working and that we're turning out not just people to go to work for other companies, but turn out people that's going to create businesses. We have to have some type of business development, some economic development, because we have to employ our own. And then we have to look at investing. You know, Al Sharpton down there marching on Wall Street, but only 30% of Black people invest in stocks and bonds. We need to start investing more. And we need to teach our young children to start investing more. And not putting a label on something, whether it's Republican or Democrat or independent or conservative. Look at the policy and decide whether it works for the Black community or not. That's what we have to start doing. Oh, yeah, he's probably done. But let me tell you. But let me tell you, they might still support him because the older Democrats are scared. Because you got a lot of young people that have that mindset and they don't know enough. But they're getting checks, right? They're getting checks. The people that fund the Democratic Socialist movement. I was up at the Black caucus this weekend, and I had a talk with my brother Jamani Williams, and I told him to come on the show. We got to come on the show. He was like, brother, you know, you hard on a Democratic Socialist. I said, that don't mean I love you, brother. Because when he was running for governor, I was the one walking around with him in Westchester County. We was pushing him in Westchester County. My love for you don't change if I feel that I don't agree with your policy outlook. And that's something we have to have, those type of discussions openly. I think Black people getting free stuff doesn't do us any good. I think helping us go out here and start businesses and making our community a safe place to live is the better option than looking for free stuff. And making sure our educational system, look, nurses and you know, they should be graduating from 12th grade, ready to go be a nurse, a mechanic, HVAC, electric. They should be graduating from 12th grade with those type of skills. What are we doing in our educational system? What are we doing? 800,000 jobs in vocational is open right now, and we ain't producing young Black children to get those jobs. 800,000. And with the AI age, it's probably going to be more, because you're going to need plumbers, because they need the water to keep those servers cool and air conditioned to keep those servers cool. We're not preparing our children for the next wave of jobs. We're not doing it in Black school systems. We're not doing it. We're not teaching our young kids to use AI to become millionaires. No, we're teaching them to do silly ass videos on their phone to post on TikTok and Instagram. Well, yeah, I heard that too, Joshua. I heard that too. But we have to start doing that. So now I want to, since I'm by myself, I ain't got a lot to talk about, because we make the show with conversation. But since it is, but I'm gonna go on to the next story. So this whole thing about the voter ID, right? I don't know what everybody's think, if it's good or bad. You know, I'm not really feeling, they try to drag Black folks into everything. But my mother was born in 1935. She was born in a rural area of North Carolina. Now, I'm going to tell y'all how rural it was. I remember when I had stopped by and I graduated in 86, went into the Marine Corps, September 86. So I had a break. Maybe about October of 86. And I stopped at the home house, the neighborhood with all my mother's brothers and sisters, and I stayed there for a weekend. And in 86, I had to drive an hour. I'm going to say it again. In 86, I had to drive an hour to get a Heineken. That's how rural it was. Just to get a Heineken beer, I had to drive out. Now, fast forward, you still got to drive an hour to get a Heineken. That's the crazy part about it, right? But even though the town was rural, country, my mother had her birth certificate. My mother had a passport. She had a passport. She had ID. She had a driver's license. She had a job ID. So for them to say that doing the passport thing is racist, I don't believe that. Now, understand the law. When you register to vote, the process is you register to vote. Now, after you register, they put your name in the system to see if you're a citizen. So you register to vote, then they put your name in the system, right? That's the way it is today. All the bill does is reverse it. Is that you have to prove that you're a citizen before you register to vote. That's all it does, is reverse the system. Because the system has flaws. And people say, oh man, it's look, every year in Mount Vernon, Joshua's on here and he can testify. Every year in Mount Vernon, there's some type of lawsuit against the Board of Election, dead people voting. There was one person, I ain't gonna say no names, but y'all gonna know who I'm talking about. One person, to get his brothers elected, he voted 7 times, they said. One person voted 7 times. That's what they say, allegedly. But there was just a recent lawsuit against the Board of Election. So these things do happen. Do they happen like enormous? I don't know. Who was checking him in? I don't even know. But these things happen. So for them to say that makes black people hard, I really don't believe that. I just think, I think they're gaslighting the issue and they're making people, but, let's look what they're saying. I'm going to play this right now.
Stop it. Boy. So once again, we got.
Oh, wait a minute. Got the wrong one in there. Let me see.
Stop it. Boy. So once again, we got.
It's been clear. When we fight for democracy, when we protect democracy, we got to fight fire with fire. We're not going to stand idly by, as Maya said. We're not going to let them revert to Jim Crow. And if you don't think they want to revert to Jim Crow, just look what they did in the SAVE Act, which went back to took Jim Crow for the whole nation. By so making it hard, they said you need ID, and they made it so hard to show ID that probably half the people in America couldn't vote. We wouldn't let it pass. Democrats, they needed our vote. They went to court. Many of us, Durbin, myself, and others were lead plaintiffs, and we beat them in court. But it shows why we need legislation. Because these guys are undoing everything in every way they can. They don't want poor people to vote. They don't want people of color to vote. They don't want Democrats to vote.
So you're trying to tell me that poor people can't get ID? But see, this is what they're pushing and having really people believe that poor people can't get ID. And that's not true. That's not true. That poor people can't get their birth certificate. That's not true. I just went online today because I wanted to see how hard it would be to get my birth certificate. And you go right on NewYorkState.gov and they send you to this portal and you fill out all the information. You pay $45 and get your birth certificate because nothing's free. And the majority of that amount was for the Federal Express that makes sure it comes to you and you have to sign it. You can't tell me poor people can't get a birth certificate and everybody out here rocking Jordans and $2,000 cell phones. But here, see, here's what they think. See, think about this, y'all. Here's what they think about us.
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad. I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far to say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data.
You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so like we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. Like that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this? Some type of trick candy cameras?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that. It's on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is around you?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Would you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get to the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupidity, honestly. Everybody has access to the internet. Even a little kid can figure out how to work the internet.
So that's what they think of black people when it comes to getting the ID. Like, that's amazing that we're like, nobody's even pushing back on that type of racist stereotype. That shit is racist. Like, that's from white liberals who think that black people are just so stupid that we can't even get on the internet and we can't get an ID. It's Jim Crow 2.0 for black people. Are you kidding me? See, and this is the thing that makes me upset. That black Democrats don't push back on this nonsense. They sit here and co-sign it. Yeah, just like what Hochul said. Well, look, it's not just liberals, but they're the ones that's arguing the case that we can't get an ID. That's my point. Who's arguing? Who else is arguing out there but the liberals? Let's just be honest. Who else is arguing that it's a burden for black people? The Republicans are not saying that. They're passing the bill. But who's arguing about that? Keep us in the past, rob us from the present. Exactly. You know, and I'm not attacking you know, somebody's gonna watch this. Oh man, Davis. No, I'm just listen, we're attacking it with logic. Can we use that sometimes without just feelings all the time? So we, you know, how do you do that? How do you not address it? How do you not put back on it? Now, here's the thing. Most black people believe we should show ID. So why are they not talking about why is Schumer calling it Jim Crow 2.0? Who made that up? Literally, there are white people in a room making up these type of things to say to black people. Because we can't be in the room if we got any common sense, because we be like, yo, that's stupid. So check out what CNN said.
Last year of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj. They favor photo ID to be able to vote.
What about by party? What's the party breakdown?
Yeah, normally you might expect, hey, there'd be a big divide by party with Republicans really for it and Democrats really against it. But not really here. I mean, just take a look here. Favor photo ID to vote. You got 95% of Republicans, pretty much all of them, but even 71% of Democrats favor photo ID to vote. 5% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
But that's not what you heard from Schumer. That's not what you heard from these white folks that they were interviewing. That is racist. Well, that's what they're trying to. Well, that's what they're trying to call it. They're trying to call it a poll tax, but it's not. But it's not a poll tax. You don't see any. No, I believe it's other black people in the room telling them to say this stupid thing, because I don't see any mainstream black politicians speaking against it. Absolutely. There's nobody speaking against it. How do you, if 70% of black people are in agreement with having a voter ID to vote, having a proper process to make sure that you're a citizen, why is our black leadership not agreeing with the majority of black people? I really don't understand. And to call it Jim Crow 2.0 and to say that it is oppressive when every black person has a form of ID. So if you have a form of ID, that means you had to show other documents to get that ID. Even if you show your job ID, to get the job, you had to show your social security card. You probably had to show your birth certificate to prove that who you are, and your driver's license. To get a passport, you have to show 2 forms of ID to get your passport. Your birth certificate and your driver's license. And maybe a bill or whatever. I forgot. So you still have to go around to do it. And guess what? Zoran Mamdani did a press conferences for snow shovelers. And guess what? To be a snow shoveler, you had to show 2 forms of ID. Ain't that something? To be a snow shoveler, you have to form 2 forms of ID. I'm going to bring it up so people that don't even believe me. Let me see if I can find it now. I screenshotted it. Well, I don't. Oh, they must have changed it now when people screaming about it. Oh, here we go. Let me share the screen. Let me share the screen. Screen share. See that right there? It's 2 small photos, 2 original forms of ID. So they don't want to have the process of checking, making sure the person has proper ID to vote, but you have to have proper ID in New York City to shovel snow. Make it make sense. That to show proof to get paid. Okay. You still have to show ID to prove it's you. So why is it so bad? Why is it so bad to show ID that you're a citizen so you could vote in federal elections? Why is it bad? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, brothers and sisters. And that's all I'm saying. You could argue with me if you want to. You can say whatever if you want to. That all that is cool. But that doesn't make any sense. And then they tell black people they're attacking us. It's a poll tax. It's Jim Crow 2.0. You're a responsible human being. You're supposed to have proper ID. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back that want to make it racist. A responsible human being is supposed to have proper ID. If my mother had it, who was born in 1935 in North Carolina, if she had it all through her life, how far back are you going to go? You could go 35 more years, but I don't even think how many people were around that was born before 1935. Oh, wait a minute. Her brother, who's still alive, who's a retired sheriff, and he had all his proper ID. And he was a sheriff. So black people, we are smarter than this. We are smarter than this. And this is what makes me upset. Because they treat us like we got ADHD as a group of people. Exactly. Back then, you had to have some ID or you be hanging. Well, a lot of times you might be hanging on a tree. So, I really don't understand that, brothers and sisters. I Oh, you know what? One thing I can't forget, I want to wish everybody a happy Savior's Day. Today is Savior's Day, and I want to wish everybody a happy Savior's Day. And if you don't know what Savior's Day is the annual convention of the Nation of Islam, traditionally held in late February. It honors the birth of Wallace Farad Muhammad, February 26, 1877, who is regarded as the Messiah and the Mahdi for Black Americans. And every year there's a speech by Minister Farrakhan. Before it was Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and today is Savior's Day, and it's always the pin in Black History Month, and I'm about to watch it later on tonight. But I want to wish everybody a happy Savior's Day, and speaking of Elijah Muhammad, man, like he, do for self. The Nation of Islam should be in every Black history book. They had planes, trains. They had stores in every city. They had their own economic machine. They made their own stuff. They had their own newspaper. They was a nation within a nation. They were not dependent on the government. And believe it or not, one of my mentors, Black law enforcement organizations, came out of the Nation of Islam because back then, a lot of FOI were cops throughout the nation. And this is according to one of my mentors, Bobby Rivers, who was in the nation. And then a lot of them left because Elijah Muhammad said either the job or the nation. And a lot of them bounced. They stayed with that money. And I'm not right or wrong, but that's part of the history. So when you see Black law enforcement organizations and they have the lapel pin of their organization, they got that from the Nation of Islam. They got that from the Nation of Islam. Because there was a lot of Nation of Islam brothers and some sisters that were cops, especially in NYPD. That's a little Black history tidbit for everybody. And that's why the attitude and the question is, was he Black, right? Master Farad Muhammad. But guess what? If he wasn't Black, would it matter? Would it matter if he wasn't Black? So how could the Nation of Islam be racist and they loved the man that looked like a white man? How could they be racist? If they loved Master Farad Muhammad, if they believed Master Farad Muhammad was the Messiah of the Christians and the Mahdi of the Muslims, how could they be racist? Like I tell people too, my great grandmother, she was white. If I showed you a picture, you'd think she was an Irish woman. But my great grandfather was blacker than the boot. And they used to call me racist. I said, well, if I love this woman, I got love for y'all too. Y'all just don't like what's coming out of my mouth. That's what it is usually. And since we're ending with that, I'm going to end the show because I'm by myself. I ain't gonna talk no more than an hour. But we had a great conversation. We also this month is the assassination of Malcolm X. And, you know, what pisses me off is that we have talked about Black people. We have talked about the Epstein files this month more than we have talked about Black history, more than we have talked about what we needed to do for Black people. You know, we have talked about the Epstein file. Yes, you're absolutely right. But I didn't want to get into that hole because that's a whole long conversation. But I think it's sad that we have talked about this white freaky man more than we talked about Black history. It just shows our distraction as a people, that we will fill our timelines with a white freaky man than fill our timelines with the great achievements of our Black ancestors. I have a problem with that. And the fact of the matter is, we're worried about a freak we ain't never met. But cities like Mount Vernon and Black cities, probably Black cities throughout the United States, usually have the highest population of sex offenders. I know Mount Vernon has the highest population of sex offenders per capita than any other city in Westchester County. But nobody is arguing about that. Wasn't no marches when that old freaky coach got caught having sex allegedly with the young girls. Well, he's indicted. He's been in jail ever since. But ain't nobody marching about that. But yet y'all want to post Epstein all over your thing, and you got freaky coaches right in your backyard. Oh, shameful freaky coaches in your backyard. But nobody want to talk about that. Nobody's demanding answers from the district attorney about the freaky coach in Mount Vernon. But y'all want to post something about Epstein. Talking about we protecting our children. You ain't protecting a goddamn thing because you ain't talking about the children locally. You ain't concerned that a Black city has more registered sex offenders than any other city in Westchester County. Ain't nobody talking about that. See, that shows our hypocrisy as people, as Black people. And we get caught up in timelines. That's what's ridiculous. And did you know that the White House released the MLK files the same time they released the Epstein files? The MLK family has the federal files, and ain't nobody talking about that. Nobody's talking about it. The family has the files. I don't care about the white freaky man. I want to know what they did to Martin Luther King Jr. How about that? The month is almost over, and ain't nobody mentioned that the federal government gave the MLK family the files also. We ain't talking about that. We want to talk about freaky white men. I don't care about the freaky white men. I really don't. Not when Black boys are getting shot and killed in the street. Not when these little YNs is running around malls and breaking. I ain't got time to talk about no freaky white men. Because we let them create our own agenda. And we're ending this show. We're ending this show with what Malcolm said. That's how we're going to end the show. We're letting them create our agenda. We have to stop that – because we get distracted, and they want us distracted. because we're not talking about the freaks in our midst, in our hometown, where our children walk the street. We're worried about a freaky white man that has so much money that his reality we will never understand. And he had so much influence that everybody wants to stay quiet. So don't tell me you're looking out for the pedophiles. You want to know who the pedophiles are, but you don't speak on your pedophiles that's in your circumference. So we're going to end it with what Malcolm said.
One who ends up with the lamb chop on his plate. The wolf doesn't act friendly, and therefore the wolf has more difficulty in getting the lamb chop in his plate.
I'd like to point out, though, that...
I say that because it is usually if you study the structure of the Negro community, economically, politically, civically, psychologically, and otherwise, it's controlled by the white liberal, who usually poses as the friend of the Negro, who actually differs from the white conservative in the same way that the fox differs from the wolf. Their appetite is the same. Their motives are the same. It's only their mannerisms and methods that differ.
I would agree that no doubt there have been a large number of whites who have posed as liberals and as friends of the Negro and who have time and again betrayed the Negro. On the other hand, I think one could point to a large number of whites who have struggled for civil rights, for equality, and have got little or nothing out of it, other than quite a few bruises.
Give me an example.
Well, the large number of white students who have gone into the South, for example, working for SNCC and other organizations.
Not working for SNCC or other organizations, but working for the white political machines who benefit by the voting efforts of Negroes.
Okay. I'll be more specific. I would cite Herbert Hill, for example, as a kind of person who has championed Negro job rights, for example, in New York City and elsewhere. He has fought the political machine.
First time I met Herbert Hill personally was when they were picketing to stop the working on the Harlem Hospital in Harlem. Negroes for 10 years had to fight the city to get an annex built on the Harlem Hospital. Because in Harlem we need a hospital more so than anything else. Our people are sick. Plus we do a lot of cutting and shooting of each other, though we profess to be nonviolent. And Herbert Hill brought his forces out and stopped the working on that site. This is the first time I ever saw him. Then when work was brought to a halt on a hospital in Harlem, the same Negroes tried to stop the work at the Downstate Medical Center in Brooklyn, which is predominantly white. They were out there for 3 months during the summer. Couldn't stop anything. And I never saw Herbert Hill out there one time. Now, whenever it takes a stoppage of something that's going to affect the white man, you find the white liberal absent. But when it involves something that primarily will affect the best interests of black people, and black people only, then that white liberal is present. Herbert Hill is the labor secretary for the NAACP. And if he was interested in black people, he would prepare a black man.
Well, I could only load up 2 minutes, but y'all get the message. We gotta start being in control of our own politics sooner or later, or we're gonna be left out. And I want to thank everybody. And check this out. I got my new book out. It's called Democrats and Republicans, The Ultimate Gangbangers: How the Two-Party System Became Americans' Legalized Street War. And it goes into the mindset, the gang mindset that is in both parties, not just one party, both parties, and how black folks is losing out. So I put the link up there, but please support Democrats and Republicans, the ultimate gangbangers. And that's it, y'all. I done talked for an hour. Thank you again for checking us out. We'll be here next Sunday at the same time, same place, right on Facebook, YouTube, X, and LinkedIn, making it happen. Yeah, I really do need to go on interviews, man. I get somebody to help me get on these interviews, and we're gonna make you do have it in audio. Hopefully by the end of this week, I gotta do the audio book. I gotta do the audio book for it, but that will be up to let everybody know. But the link is in there. If anybody want to support, it's $25, and you get on that. The link that I sent you, everybody that buy will get a signed copy of the book. This is and I'm working on a few other books coming up too. I'm trying to get them out so we can have real conversations, because there is a lot of things that are being said that are not true. So I wanted to address them in books. One thing is really untrue that we don't really talk about, that Black people had the blueprint. We had the economic blueprint, and we walked away from it too many times. The last time we walked away from it was integration, and we never got it back. And then there's another book out I'm writing. It's called Black America, Black Agenda, to really look at why Black people do not have a Black political agenda. Every other ethnic group in America has an agenda, but Black people, every other ethnic group. When you ask what is Black people agenda, they'll tell us, well, whatever the Democrats say, or whatever the Democrat socialists say. That's still have it, just have to collaborate. Okay. Just that's not good. And then my last book I'm writing for this year is going to be The Conquered Negro. How Black folks' mindset has been conquered. For us to think every time these white folks argue with each other, they say they coming after us. You already conquered. They don't need to come after Black America. We already conquered. We only have 2% of the businesses. So we have no real economic development. And we have to buy everything from them. We're expected to spend $2.6 trillion as consumers. We're already conquered. You can tell me with my master's degree and doctor's degree, I'm conquered. We're conquered. They don't have to come. Why would they get rid of their largest consumer base? That's not even good economics, not good marketing, not even good thinking. They coming after us. No, they ain't gonna come after us because we buy everything from them. They're not gonna get rid of us. They like us where we're at. They like us where we at. How many Black spark plugs companies do we have? How many Black tire companies do we have? How many Black automotive companies we could buy a car owned by a Black man? How many Black refrigerator companies do we have? How many Black computers? How many Black phones? How many Black phone companies do we have? Everybody walking around with Apple or the other one. I can't remember because the only one I use is Apple. White folks. How many Black I think there's one black cell phone service company. Huh? We ain't got no black computers. How many black mics? I got this mic here. How many black companies make a mic? Or the wire? Huh? Or the wire? How many black companies make the screws here? They don't want to get rid of us. We got to buy everything from them. Yes, there is a Black Business Association in Westchester County. But guess what? Black businesses only represent only 2% of the businesses in Westchester County. How about that one? I did a whole article on that. 2%. We represent 2% in Westchester. 2%. And we're 13 to 14% of the population. And here's the kicker. The city with the most black businesses ain't even Mount Vernon. It's New Rochelle. How about that one? The city that's 85% of black people still ain't number one in the city that has businesses. How about that? Well, I try to support black businesses as much as I can. But you don't raise a nation off of hair salons and barbershops. Do you? How many black AI businesses are there? We get ready to go into the AI, in the AI era. What's 20% back? Maybe 2025. I'm not sure what you're talking about. We get ready to go into the AI era. We need black electricians. We need black plumbers. We need black HVAC, because they get ready to build all these restaurants. Yeah, but you can't build a nation off of restaurants neither. You can't build a nation off restaurants. What you're going to do is give us high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and type 2 diabetes, which we already leading in that. You can't build a nation off a restaurant. And I'm not knocking all the restaurant owners. But New Rochelle have most of the businesses. And I really don't think it's all restaurants. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's insane. So, I want to thank everybody, man, that's watching. I'm going to call it a day. My wife done called me twice. So I got to make sure see what's going on with the wife. But thank you, brothers and sisters, man. I love y'all. See us next week. You can also go on YouTube. Please check out the articles on blackwestchester.com. Please check us out. I'll put the link in for the book. It goes directly to PayPal. You fill out the stuff. I'll get you the book. And that's about it. We are out of here. It's over. Peace out. And as I always say, man, stay blessed, stay safe, and stay blacktastic. Peace out.
Are you ready to put your brand in front of the people who matter? Black Westchester Magazine is your platform. With over 90,000 monthly website readers and more than 250,000 YouTube viewers every month, we give your business unmatched exposure. From email blasts straight to our subscribers, to video commercials, website promotions, and targeted campaigns, we've got the tools to help you connect, engage, and grow. Whether you're a local business, a national brand, a rising entrepreneur, or just promoting an upcoming event, Black Westchester is where culture, community, and commerce meet. Contact us today or scan the QR code and start building with us. Don't just advertise, be part of the movement, be part of Black Westchester, Be blacktastic. Black America first. Yeah, Black America first. Fix the house. Fix the fam. Let the blessings burst. Own. Got a sweet tooth? Come to Cupcake Cutie Boutique in Mount Vernon, where every day is a reason to celebrate. Fresh homemade cupcakes baked with love. Stop by 8 South 6th Avenue and taste the cuteness today.
Oh, I thought we was out.
They taught us charity, never clarity. Now help the world while we suffer in the dark. Fighting for flags that don't feed our seeds, but can't build one school where our babies can read. We loud for the globe, but silent for home. No plumber, no coder, but a new iPhone. Our pain got turned to a marketing stream, march and scream, but no policy team, red or blue. Man, they both play roles. One lock us up, one leave us broke with hopes. Democrat, Republican, ain't changed the hood. Just new faces, same games, misunderstood. We vote, they win, then forget we alive. They fund everybody, we just try and survive. Our issues trend only after we die. Ain't no savior coming, it's us or goodbye. So I buy black, build back, sow in the earth. Each brick I lay, I honor the hurt. My grandma prays for the day we be free, not just legally, but financially. Put the mask on first, then we lift the rest. If the block ain't strong, how we claim success? We ain't saviors, we survivors, building worth, time to love ourselves. Black America first, yeah, Black America first. Fix the house, fix the fam, let the blessings burst. Own the land, own the plan, put the people to work, no more mule moves, Black America. Thank you for watching another Blacktastic episode of the People Before Politics show. Sunday Rundown, powered by Black Westchester Magazine. We appreciate every single one of you who tuned in, commented, shared the stream, and joined the conversation. Your support is the reason independent Black media continues to thrive and speak truth without fear. Every week, we show up to bring clarity, accountability, and real community insight to the stories that matter. And you show up with us. Whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or X, we want you to know that your voice, your engagement, and your presence make this platform stronger. Thank you for rocking with Damon K. Jones, AJ Woodson, and Larnez Kinsey as we break down the issues that many outlets ignore. And thank you for supporting a space where Black thought, Black leadership, and Black truth-telling still matter.